NFL players that let themselves go. The life of professional athletes requires strict adherence to a certain lifestyle, one filled with healthy foods and countless hours spent in the gym to eliminate any traces of extra baggage. Even the largest NFL athletes have to closely monitor what they put into their behemoth bodies day in and day out. Failure to do so can have dire consequences for one's career and livelihood. Today, we take a look at NFL players that let themselves go. You will be surprised at the names to find out who. Let's get it on! Most athletes will talk at length about the commitment and dedication it takes to keep one's body and mind in shape for the grueling reality that is professional sports. Fans often get hung up on the glitz and glam associated with making millions for essentially playing a game. The fact of the matter is, most of the time, the millions of dollars often attached to these athletes only come after they've shown a willingness to put in the effort and hard work to excel at their chosen sport. Compared to other sports, the length of an NFL career is extremely short, and the competition at every position place an added importance on staying in shape and not allowing oneself to slip into a state of inflation. That is until, of course, you decide to call it a career and go to retire, at which point anything goes. Here are some of the players who did let themselves go. Number 1, Jamarcus Russell. Who could forget the physical freak Russell was coming out of LSU? Arm strength, size, respectable mobility gave the Raiders hope for a brighter future. The problem is, Russell failed miserably to live up to the hype. In fact, he was so bad, the Raiders would have been better served to take a kicker or punter first overall. In 31 games, Jamarcus threw 18 touchdowns, 23 interceptions, posted a career completion percentage of just over 52%, a comically bad quarterback rating of 65.2, and finished his career with a 7-18 record as a starter. He also let his weight creep up north of 300 pounds as a quarterback. As recently as 2000, get back to his true passion, eating. Number 2, Dante Culpepper. Having his best years in Minnesota, Culpepper also had stints with the Dolphins, Raiders, and the Lions before retiring from the NFL in 2010. Oddly enough, Culpepper continued playing football, signing with the Sacramento Mountain Lions of the UFL. He would go on to win several weekly awards during his UFL tenure. However, in his retirement, he seems to have become even more lenient than he was as a player when it comes to his diet. Culpepper was always a big quarterback, tipping the scales at roughly 265 pounds. During his playing days, and perhaps in retirement, he doesn't want the burden of having to get and stay in shape. Culpepper seems to be of that mindset. Number 3, O.J. Simpson. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. The line that many claims got O.J. off the hook in the trial of a generation. Eventually, Juice would wind up behind bars, serving time for essentially stealing memorabilia he believed belonged to him in the first place. However, somehow, O.J. Simpson was released from prison on October 1st, 2017. Early on in his prison days, Simpson was a walking parade float, resembling a balloon more than he did a human being. Perhaps he has shed some of the excess baggage over the years, but he remains a hefty, non-convicted murderer who single-handedly gave the Ford Bronco a bad rep. Did they ever find any Twinkie wrappers in the passenger seat following that chase? I wonder what the Kardashians would say about that. Number 4, Bryant McKinney. Bryant Mount McKinney is one of several infamous Minnesota Viking stars caught on the Love Boat back in 2005. The University of Miami alumnus was a force on the offensive line early on in his career, but weight gain and legal troubles eventually left him on the outside looking in after just 179 games. His conditioning struggles were well documented throughout his career, having been forced to skip practices routinely due to poor conditioning. On top of his weight issues, he was sued for $375,000 by an exotic dance club in Florida for unpaid services. He would later settle for $150,000, equating to roughly 4,000 dances. Just imagine partying with Bryant McKinney. Number 5, Albert Haynesworth. Albert Haynesworth had all kinds of problems throughout his career and was a coach's nightmare, and his weight was just one of these headaches. The defensive tackle was always a mountain of a man, but after a few seasons in the NFL, he gained a large amount of weight in the wrong places and became massively out of shape. Haynesworth soon began to complain about the coaching staff, take plays off, disrespect teammates, and of course, his play suffered drastically as his weight and fitness had taken a blow. In fact, coming into the 2010 training camp, Haynesworth failed multiple fitness tests and as a result couldn't participate in the camp. He was traded to New England the following season. His career was hugely promising early on, but he soon let himself go and completely tarnished his reputation as a player. Number 6. Eddie Lacy. For many professional athletes, the offseason could be a period where it becomes too difficult to fight temptation after months of hard work and travel around the country. This was proven to be the case for Green Bay's Eddie Lacy, who was photographed at training camp in 2013 looking far from his best. Lacy admitted at an interview that he'd been splurging too much on fast food and was up to at least 238 pounds, a huge amount for a running back. The photographs probably made Lacy look larger than he was, but he still admitted to letting himself go during the offseason. And this is common for athletes after a grueling season. Lacy had a slow start that season, but eventually found his form, scoring 11 rushing touchdowns and won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Number 7. LenDale White. LenDale White stunned NFL scouts at a weigh-in prior to the 2006 NFL Draft, as the hot college prospect had ballooned from 238 to 254 pounds since leaving USC. It is said that there were audible gasps when White took off his shirt at the weigh-in, and one scout is said to have laughed at the sight. One NFL GM commented, "The guy needs a bra. It was ridiculous." Nicknames such as Lenwell White and Big Fat LenDale White were being bandied around, and his stock dropped massively, seeing him plummet from a predicted first-round pick to eventually being selected with the 45th pick by the Titans. White shed some of the weight a few years later, with cutting out tequila apparently being a contributing factor. This did little to save his career, and ultimately White letting himself go between college and the NFL ruined his promising career. Number 8. Jerome Bettis. Anybody nicknamed the Bus is sure to carry a big load. The Hall of Fame Steelers running back didn't so much as let himself go in retirement, but rather just continued doing and eating the same things. He's as big as he's ever been and still resembles a lovable teddy bear. Over his career, Bettis amassed over 13,000 rushing yards, 91 touchdowns, and won a Super Bowl in 2005. Originally drafted by the Los Angeles Rams in 1993, Bettis went on to have a decorated career in Pittsburgh, playing 10 years in the black and yellow. Now he doubles as a football analyst and rivals Charles Barkley for the worst golf swing on this round-spinning space rock. Number 9. Tony Siragusa. The Goose retirement consisted of him stepping on the sidelines and simply not going back on the field. He spent 13 seasons, 2003 to 2016, as a sideline analyst for Fox. He then went on to host a home renovation show, Man Caves, and can also be seen in several advertisements for Depends on Men. The diaper advertisement is understandable, given Siragusa's affection for eating. It makes sense to just strap a bag on and not worry about any bathroom visits. Retired but as big as ever, Tony Siragusa is still a load, and I, for one, would want no part of trying to block him, regardless of how old he may be. He still has one of the best personalities in sports. Number 10. Vince Wilfork. To call Vince Wilfork an athlete could be met with a degree of skepticism one would have difficulty arguing against. He was good at his job, but to credit Wilfork's technique or studious nature for his NFL success only tells part of the story. In reality, Wilfork was successful because his presence essentially blocked out the sun on game day. A 2-time Super Bowl champion, 5-time Pro Bowler, and first ballot Hall of Fame eater, Wilfork fittingly announced his retirement in a charcoal commercial. Hanging up the cleats for the grill seems like the right career move for a man who spent the better part of his career eating running backs instead of just tackling them. We lost a lot of good men out there. Who among these guys was your favorite athlete? Let us know in the comment section below.